Heute werden wir mehrere Sprachen sprechen, wie es bei uns in der Schweiz üblich ist. Before starting with our panels, it's my pleasure to give the floor to a guest of honor. He's Professor of Philosophy and Ethics of Information and Director of the Digital Ethics Lab at Oxford University. Luciano Floridi's research areas are the philosophy of information, information and computer ethics, and the philosophy of technology. Please welcome with an applause Professor Luciano Floridi. Buongiorno professore e benvenuto a Basilea.
Grazie. Good morning. Madam President, Mr. President, dear guest, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this invitation. It's not my first time in Switzerland, and it's certainly not my first time in Basel. It's always a pleasure to come back here to learn. Not what I'm going to do in the next 30 minutes, but the rest of the day will be a learning opportunity for me, because Switzerland is often seen abroad as a great lab where things are tried first and where we can see what works and what is success. So thank you very much. My task today is to, I hope, entertain you, but also share some ideas for about 30 minutes or less on a vast topic. So I hope you will forgive me if I will be a little bit shallow, somewhat superficial. If I succeed, then you'll be left with more questions than answers. That's typical philosophy for you. We're good at asking questions, not so much, oh, we're working on the answers. We've been working for about 25 centuries. Give us a bit of extra time. The topic is, how do we design this digital habit that is surrounding us? So in order to make sure that we follow a path and I don't overspeak, I will rely on a little map. I shall discuss a little bit about this new habitat, this new environment, what it looks like. What are we really talking about when we talk about a digital environment? And then one particular topic of many, and there are many, AI, artificial intelligence. What is it? And I shall try to convince you that is a divorce. It's not a marriage. It's a divorce between intelligence and agency. It's because we are divorcing these two entities, and therefore we have gadgets and things that don't have to be intelligent in order to be successful in doing this and that we have artificial intelligence today. More on this as we move there. Once we have this divorce in mind, I will illustrate some of the ethical challenges that this divorce is causing. It's precisely because the gadgets we have are not intelligent that I don't sleep at night. If they were intelligent, I would be more relaxed. What does that mean for the environment, the real environment, the biological environment out there? Is this a force that we can leverage to make a better job when it comes to global warming? That will be the specific point there. Moving therefore to, once again, opening up the talk to governance, because that's what we need. You don't have technology full stop. The real challenge is not, or no longer, just technological or digital innovation. It's the governance of the digital. It's not what we invent, but what we do with the inventions that we have in our hands. That is the real challenge today. And finally, why this involves design. And not just because I'm Italian. I also have a British passport, just in case. I saw Theresa May coming. But the design here is what lies behind governance, which is the good way of handling technology, which is good for the environment. So we will back to the point. Now, this little map will come back once we are halfway through. But let's talk about the new habitat. So we live on life. That's not a misspelled word. That's not a typo. Asking today someone whether he or she is online or offline means being from the 90s. I'm sorry for the people with white hair in the room. It's a question that I used to ask a long time ago. My students don't even know what the difference is anymore. Because at the moment you are here and your mobile phone is sending your geolocation constantly, roughly every minute, every app you have in that mobile phone. Are you online? Are you offline? You must be from the 90s if you think that that question has an answer. We are constantly online and offline at the same time. It's a mix and match. Therefore, we live in a space that is made of information and data. Again, not everywhere, and I'm constantly reminded that there are hundreds of millions of people who never made a telephone call. I know. But their life is determined by those who did make that telephone call. So when people say, oh, well, you must be really a Westerner, Oxford, not everybody lives in the infosphere. I know. But those who don't live in the infosphere yet have their lives decided by those who actually do. So let's not make any mistake. We are getting there. We are increasingly living a life. We're increasingly sharing a space that is made seamlessly of data and things, chairs and computers. The result is that this new habitat is a bit like a mangrove forest or a mangrove society, if you pass me the analogy. Now, mangroves, they don't grow in Oxford yet. So global warming is not getting there yet. But where they grow in this special environment. It's quite unique. You have the fresh water of a river and the salty water of the sea coming together. Asking there, is the water salty? Is it fresh? You don't know where you are, do you? It's a mangrove society. It's fresh and salty at the same time. So is it online? Is it live? Is it digital? Is it analog? It's a mix. And that's where the mangroves grow. And unless you realize that that's where the society is expanding, that everybody is coming to the mangrove society, you not quite get the point. So I still have colleagues who say, oh, this is just it's a fashion. I remember in the 90s, Luciano, don't work on the internet, it won't last. Believe it or not. Luckily, sometimes young people don't listen. Or someone, oh no, it's all digital from now on. No, it isn't. Just look at what is happening in your kitchen. It's a bit digital, it's a bit analog, it's a bit online, etc., etc. You talk to gadgets, you say, shall we say, Alexa, what's the music, and so on. So the mangrove society is what's happening here. And it's a bit of a forest. It's a network that is kind of a jungle, but a beautiful one. Now, in this new habitat, in this mangrove society, what happens to one particular topic? And there are many others, but let's talk about one of them. Artificial intelligence. Well, artificial intelligence has been described in 1,000 ways, and I know that experts here, computer scientists, will say, oh, but what do you mean? Symbolic AI, deep learning, machine learning? You can't just say, yes, I can. Watch me. AI, okay? So it's just a single thing, and you know when you see it. It's like pornography. You don't have a definition. It's a classic, I'm not the first one to say that. You don't have a definition of pornography, but you recognize it when you see it. Now, artificial intelligence is a bit like that. Of course, journalists have to convey the point, so normally it's a robot. But most of the AI we have around, it's invisible to us. Ask people, not here in this room, but in the street, have you ever used AI? Oh, never. Now, did you take a good picture with your mobile phone? Yeah. There you go. Have you ever checked what is on Netflix and found that that recommendation was pretty good? Yes, absolutely. Well, that's AI too. And don't tell me you never bought something on Amazon that was not recommended. You like this, you may like that. Well, that's AI as well. So there's a lot of AI already percolating all over the place. We're using it on a daily basis, including warehouses. Now, why the warehouse here as a picture? Look what happens to that kind of space. We transform the space so that the robots inside can work successfully. In industrial engineering, that is called an envelope. The envelope is the 3D space within which an artificial agent can operate successfully. The car industry knows this since the 70s. The warehousing industry is discovering it as we speak. They're not meant for us. They're meant for robots. So all of a sudden, you have a discussion with your wife and you look at the sofa in the house and you say, we need to change the sofa. Why? Well, because Roomba doesn't go under it. That little disc that cleans the floor. And so all of a sudden, you have the sofa that is Roomba friendly. Well, Roomba didn't quite have a word, but almost, okay? So we say, well, Roomba like it? Is that a kind of thing that Roomba will enjoy? And in the end, you have a sofa that is chosen by you, your wife, and Roomba. Now, why is that important? It's a serious topic, but we are transforming the world into something that is machine-friendly. So when you look at a warehouse, you start wondering, what's going to happen to my city? Because we are exporting the enveloping to our urban environment. And next time you hear, as I do when you talk to city council, say, I think we should have a special lane for driverless cars. Don't tell me that you are calling Roomba about the sofa. Are you transforming the city so that the city is machine-friendly? What happens to us? So one of the problems here is because this AI is not that particularly intelligent, and it's a bit sort of stiff and sometimes reluctant to change, etc., we make the environment friendly. The success of AI today is due to fantastic algorithms, massive amount of data, the fact that we live in the infosphere, so everything is happening in a digital environment, and we are transforming it to make sure that it's friendly to machines. Not to be underestimated next time you start doing some urban planning. So agency and intelligence are being divorced. That's why my iPhone plays chess better than anyone else in this room, for sure. Intelligence, 0. Ability at chess playing, total. What happened? We detached the two. If we had waited for the iPhone to be intelligent to beat anybody at chess, I would still be having a great time. Unfortunately, I lose every day. So this divorce is causing some challenges. Some of the challenges are obvious, some others are less obvious. Here is a quick map, and I hope it's sufficiently big over there for those of you who are too far away. I will divide this into 3 groups, the green, the red, and the amber. The green are the good things that can happen when you use AI. When you have the opportunities, you can enable human self-realization. You can enhance human agency. We can do more, better, differently. You can increase societal capabilities. It's extraordinary the services you can provide if you have the right AI. And you can cultivate societal cohesion. Now, these are good things that we want. Call it the green, good stuff. Then we have the bad stuff. When we overuse or misuse AI, we devalue human skills. We remove human responsibility. How many times have you heard, sorry, it was the computer? Reducing human control, delegating when we shouldn't, and eroding human self-determination. But it's also an amber corner, which again, as policymakers, as lawmakers, we should not underestimate. And that is underuse. The fear that you could make a mistake and therefore I'd rather not, better safe than sorry. Now, with that principle, remember, better safe than sorry, we will still be in a cave, and that little thing called fire, better safe than sorry, let's not adopt it. The will, I'm not quite sure. No, let's not adopt it, better safe than sorry. So let's make sure that this amber corner doesn't play a role too big. In order to deliver on the green, avoid the red, and make sure that the amber doesn't stumble or block over there, we need some ethics. Well, often, even yesterday, we had a lovely discussion over lunch and dinner. People say, oh, ethics, isn't the law enough? No, it's not. And as an Italian, not as a British citizen, let me use a football analogy. Rules of the game. That's what the law provides. You do not play this game unless you comply with the rules. If you don't, you get a ticket and so on. But that doesn't mean winning the game. Otherwise, I would be a great tennis player. Now, playing according to rules, why not win? Because you need a strategy. You need to do more over and above compliance with the rules. Rules are the essential. You don't even start talking without rules in place. But what can I do to do more? That's what ethics does. So ethics is the more, the extra, and it happens when you need to shape the law, because maybe there isn't a law about, say, face recognition or drones next to an airport. What's the ethical debate we're having as a society in terms of what we prefer, what we would like to have? Then you have law that doesn't cover corners. That's an ethical debate as well. We have vague or grey areas covered but not so much by the law. And there are things not covered at all, not even now, not even in terms of a debate. In all these areas, that's what we need to do, to decide what we like, what we don't, what we think is right and wrong, what should be done and shouldn't. So don't forget, you may do something and that something may still be totally wrong. See what Boris Johnson is doing with the parliament. You may still do it and it's still totally wrong. Governance is something else. Governance is the extra. So normally we use these words, law, regulations, ethics, governance, to mean what needs to be done, what is right, what is the right thing to do. But let me introduce a little concept here of soft ethics. This is normally what happens when you talk to a big company. The lawyers come in the board and say, Professor Floridi, but we have plenty of lawyers. We have gazillions of lawyers. Why do we need to do ethics? Well, rules of the games, football, etc. And then you start telling them, look, what you need is to do post-compliance ethical thinking. Compliance is the requirement. Don't get even close to not compliance. You must be joking. Especially in Europe, and I'm talking not European Union, I'm talking Europe. We are pretty much on the good side of decent laws here, in this corner of the world. Compliance is required. Human rights, well, maybe you don't even believe in them, but make sure that at least formally you respect them. The rest is an open space. What more, what extra can be done to make sure that we live in a better society? And I like to think that enormous agents called corporate, multinational agents, they better have a bit of ethical thinking in their minds. Compliance is not good enough. And you tell them that it's like football. Play according to the rules, you end up like the British team. At this point, normally, there is another sort of objection. Okay, what new habitat, okay, on life, on infosphere, not so many words, fine, but I'm getting it, and okay, we need some ethics, law is not enough. But ethics, well, there's so many ethics. Ethics is in English, okay? So it's like mathematics. It has an N with an S, it's unfortunate, but it's a singular word. Ethics is, and always been is. In other words, it takes a long time, we need to work hard, but sooner or later we converge around a few basic principles. Is that the word of a philosopher? Should you believe me? No. Here is facts. So this is a recent work that we did with one of my graduate students, brilliant Josh Cowles, a comparison of some of the most important ethical frameworks for artificial intelligence in the world. I'd like to call your attention to the bottom three, because they're the most important for us for today. One is the European Commission high-level expert group. I'm one of the members. We delivered a framework which essentially was based on these 5 fundamental principles: beneficence, non-maleficence, autonomy, justice, and explicability. The OECD inherited that work very recently and adopted pretty much the same framework. Mind that, for those of you who were not there at the right time, Switzerland is one of the founding countries of the OECD. Beijing followed suit and adopted almost, autonomy being a little bit more touchy over there, the same kind of framework. So there's a massive convergence around this. And it's still high level, there's still a lot of work to be done. But I hate to hear people saying, oh, my ethics, your ethics, we will never agree. Seriously. So in what country is a good idea to have child pornography? And if there is such a country, well, the answer is simply wrong. Not my ethics, your ethics, my view, your view. So there's a point when you stop talking about one hand and the other hand, and no, there's a lot of convergence. That convergence needs to be translated into practices. It's not good enough to say, oh, we have very lofty, high-level, great principles and job done. No, of course, it has to be translated into policy making, law making, and direct practices every day. Now, that's where the specific topic kicks in for the next 10 minutes or 15 or so. Of the many things that we could do with AI, it seems obvious, at least for anyone who reads newspapers these days, well, the right newspapers, I suppose, not the ones that Trump reads, the good newspapers, that we're not doing a good job in handling this little thing called planet Earth. In fact, if anything, you hear sometimes people saying, oh, the digital technologies, are they making us more stupid? And you just wonder, in comparison to what? Because, we just came from 2 world wars and the destruction of Earth. So it's not that the past generations have done such a royal job, have they? So, it would be very difficult to be more stupid than that. And it's still living memory. So 2 world wars, concentration camps, Nazism, fascism in my own country, an Earth that is almost destroyed, and, the digital is making us stupid, really. Well, hopefully it will actually make us a little bit less stupid by let us know what's going on. If we know so much about the Amazonian or the Siberian or the African fires, it's also because we have those pictures, satellite, people talking all over the place, sometimes even on Facebook if they forget their cats. So the environment is burning, and in that context, the natural and the artifactual are the best ally. So I spoke to you about a divorce. That is a historical moment. We are divorcing for the first time in the history of humanity on this planet the ability to perform a task successfully in view of a goal from any need to be intelligent. Not even biological intelligence, not even a dog, a horse, or a slave, when Aristotle was around. Now, we have gadgets that can do that. For us, instead of us, better than us. Are we going to use them properly to save the other half? And that's where the marriage should happen. So that divorce between agency and intelligence should lead to, shall we say, a fantastic marriage between technology and nature, the natural and the artifactual. We don't come from that particular tradition, but we can get there. So we will live, and this is a topic for this afternoon as well, in increasingly complex environments. This is the urban population, and it's pretty much uncontroversial data. Cities like Sao Paulo, London, Tokyo, and so on, Los Angeles, will be the norm, with millions and millions of people living in the same environment. The complexity there will be astounding. Do we need all the artificial intelligence we can possibly put together to manage those contexts? Of course. That is the kind of marriage we want. That is the kind of technology we need to have. We're also destroying this planet. That's the global warming, and that is also uncontroversial, no matter what Trump-like people think. So as we boil to death on this planet Earth, surely our technology needs to be geared, leveraged to make a difference. And it's not nature against technology, but it's technology for nature. This is what we have somewhat misunderstood in the past. A long time ago, say my parents' generation, we used to have still a circular economy. And in some corners, in a small village where I spend holidays, summertime, south of Rome, there's still that sense of not throwing away a bottle because you will need that for your sauce in the winter. Not because you are green, but because you don't throw away anything. There's nothing to throw away. So it used to be a circular economy, poor. Technology transformed that into a linear economy, rich. We bought fridges. But you buy a fridge, you use a fridge, you throw away a fridge, you buy another one. On and on and on and on again. At some point, there are too many fridges thrown away, and you don't know what to do with all those fridges, all those cars, all those things. And so what we need to move to is circular as for millennia, because there was nothing to throw away, but rich, as in recent past, can be done. It's called circular economy. And I know Switzerland is at the forefront here. The confusion is that some people in the green area think, oh, technology was the problem, therefore it's still the problem. No, the problem was analog technology at the time. We had to lift ourselves out of poverty. That's how the linear economy helped us. Now we can afford to be circular. How? Through digital technology. Efficiency, efficacy. That's what AI can bring, by the bucket. What we don't have much is the bottom variable, time. We need to speed up. Again, because this place is boiling. So at this point, putting all the pictures together, we should have a way of combining A with B, all those principles at the European level, at the OECD level, even in Beijing, to make sure that we move from a linear rich to a circular rich economy. We need to do that by using AI to make sure that the green bits of AI, the good stuff, not the red, not the amber, lead to a good environment. Can it be done? Yes. Are we doing it? No. What's the difference? Governance, coordination. And that's why Switzerland normally is seen as a great lab. You guys do a lot of coordination here. Now, we can learn a lesson or two at a European level. How do you put together so many different minds around the same policy? So, the next topic, and we're almost there, the last 8 minutes. Governance. Behind all this, and as I told you, a new environment, new forms of life, a new form of agency here, which is not necessarily intelligent, but certainly very efficient, very efficacious. It delivers if we use it properly. We have a problem on one hand, the environmental problem. We have a solution on the other. We need to put them together. That divorce can lead to a great marriage. Divorce agency from intelligence, that's what we've been doing as engineers, combine that detached agency that is our own power, within our power to handle, to a problem that needs all the effort we can possibly make. That is something that starts getting exciting. When people say, oh, there's nothing to do anymore in this world, no, what's the European project? Well, for example, saving the world, that sounds exciting. Governance is what is missing. Well, governance can be understood in 1,000 ways. But what I mean here is the classic sense of governance, control and direction. It comes from Plato, so it has long roots. When Plato needs to talk about governance, he talks about a kybernetes. The kybernetes, the Greek word, means pilot of the ship. The pilot of the ship has this ability, knows where to go, that which is crucial, and is a good sort of target, but handles currents and winds in such a way that even if they are against and unfavorable, he will deliver the right journey. So sometimes the pilot has to go left and right, and even backwards, in order to move forwards. That's politics. That's politics, capital P. It's not just bargaining, not just making sure that you're still in power. So at that stage, populism, from a Platonic perspective, is follow the wind, go with the current. That's not politics. Politics is necessarily anti-populist because it uses the winds and the currents to go where we should be going. Sometimes in an unpopular way at the beginning. Look, we wanted to go there. Why are you going? Well, because I have to negotiate the winds and the currents to get there, and you don't know, but let me, try. Trust me that I will lead you there. That's the great politician. We don't have many of them, certainly not in London at the moment, but you know at least what you were looking for. So good governance, all of a sudden, is not just handling stuff, it's managing. Oh, by the way, look at the etymology of the two words. Handling, that's the hand, and the manus, the Latin word from management. You're still doing things almost physically with your hands. It's just that the ropes and the ceiling is going to be done in view of a clear target, which leads us to the next point. I told you the new challenge today for places like Switzerland, the UK, Europe at large, it's not so much technological innovation. We have that by the bucket. We still we'll be thinking in terms of last decade if you thought, oh, we need to invest 100% in technology innovation, when in fact we don't know what to do with it. The real challenge, the difficult thing, is not to buy one more startup, as anyone can do, certainly Facebook, but to know exactly what to do properly. And that is much more difficult than invest, let's say, $10 million in this or that. The governance of the digital, that's where we as humans need to invest. At that point, design is everything. By design, what I mean is having a project. So what I've been telling you for the last 25 minutes or so is quite simple. We have a new habitat. The habitat is full of forces, one of which is AI. AI is a divorce, but that divorce can work for us if we make it also a marriage. We divorce agency from intelligence. We marry together that strong agency with environmental problems to provide a solution through what looked like initially a problem. How do we do that? Ethically. Well, law is just necessary, is insufficient. We need more. We need to win. We just don't need to play according to the rules. That's not enough. Necessary, insufficient. Fine. How do we implement that? Well, governance. That's what good governance does. It takes a view of where you want to go and maneuvers, handles, manages the winds and the currents to get there. But you need to have a sense of where you're going. And that's where design plays a fundamental role. Without a clear design of what is the human project we want to implement, there is no governance, there is no politics, there is no divorce, marriage, all that thing becomes a matter of handling the present, making sure that the ship doesn't sink, which is good enough at some point, but not sufficiently exciting in terms of having a direction. So we need a human project. And what is the best human project you can think of today? The green and the blue. I told you already, and that's the end of my little presentation. We need to make sure that these digital technologies in the new habitat are friendly towards work for the green issues that we have. So the blue of digital technologies combines with the green of economics, social issues, environmental issues, to form something that would be the 21st century for us. This would be our project. It wouldn't be something we inherited from past generations. We wouldn't still be saying, oh, Europe is great because we defeated the Nazis. That was 80 years ago. There's no little kid today that gets excited by that. It's history. They read that on the history book. You need to tell them, there's a fight, we can win it, and this is how we can win it. It will require sacrifices, but it's also something that people can get excited about. The digital age is the age of design. We know that. It's not the age of invention, it's not the age of discovery. We need discoveries, we need inventions, but we need to design what we do with this. It should be the age of good design. That is the challenge that we need to raise to as a current generation. Thank you.